Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet, and welcome back to a special Monday edition of Redneck Radio, the live stream where you get an extra healthy side helping today of salmon patties with cream peas because I like them. If you don't, too bad. I love them. But yeah, this is probably going to be um, a thing from here on out. Going to have to change my stream days with my current schedule um, if I want to be able to stream at all. Hey, Quinn the Cultist, Iceman Northland. Um, see, there's not too many out there yet, but I expect that because I didn't even kick it off until the last minute. And sorry about that. Number one, how you doing? Um, a lot of things going on today, and TOS, how you doing? And I had to got the feeling kind of bad. No, it's not the COVID. I just was feeling kind of under it, and had to lay down for a little bit, and I didn't get back up till 2 o'clock. So, Kyler, how you doing? All you need. Pat, how you going? Hope you have a good stream later. Um, K Shul, how you doing? Yeah, people start to pop in. Word's getting out there. Word's getting out there. But anyway, welcome to everybody. Kylie, yeah, it's unusual, but as I was saying, it's probably going to be the usual, at least for a while. The way that my schedule works these days, my days off are usually Mondays and Fridays. Now, this week, I only have one day off today. So I won't be streaming Friday because I'll have to go in and do the truck. But after that, commonly, it's probably going to be Monday and Fridays that I'll be able to stream. Uh, just going to have to go with the flow since my usual stream days, or what they used to be, with Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, just aren't going to work because those are work days for me now. Kyler says I'm doing pretty good health wise, almost normal. Good, good. Aaron Meredith says I'm at work now. Well, glad I can entertain you while you're at work. Don't get in any trouble though. Don't get in any trouble. Um, but yeah, I wanted to at least try. excuse me, to get out one stream this week, and I'll see what I can do about more. But I wouldn't count on it. But so yeah, wanted to stream today. Um, First of all, I wanted to say, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you may not have seen this. Today is my youngest child's 30th birthday. Um, she's not one that usually shows up here at the chat. I think she's been here maybe once, maybe twice at most. She's the one I had the GoFundMe for a while back. But she turns 30 today. Now, on her 30th birthday, it's supposed to be her that feels old. And I'm sure she probably does, but so do I. Good gosh, that makes me feel old. My youngest baby is 30. My goodness. It's true what they tell you, folks. The time just slips away from you. So yeah, if you're of the younger crowd, better get what you want to get done now because it'll slip away from you pretty quick, pretty doggone quick. But I doubt she's listening because she just normally doesn't listen to this. But happy birthday to her if she is. Um, let's see who. We've got 9 people watching now. I'm sorry if I seem a little my thought process seems a little disjointed. Like I said, I was asleep until 2 o'clock, so I don't think I've got all the cobwebs knocked out of my head just yet. Um, but I'll get awake here as it goes along, and we'll get going. Not sure what we're going to talk about. I don't have any real topics, but I've just missed streaming and talking with you guys so much that I wanted to get out there. I'm sure I'll come up with something. I always do. Um, Kyler says, one of the young ladies at work called me sir the other night under my head. Damn, I know. And I get that all the time at my work, because y'all know I work at a tobacco store. I'm the assistant manager, but part of my duties is covering shifts and cashiering, and um, I get people calling me sir all the time, and I don't say it, but in my mind or under my breath, I'm thinking, sir, that's my dad. That ain't me, you know. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm 60 years old. Yeah, I'm 60 freaking years old, which is hard for me even to this day because I turned 60 in March. But even now, I struggle with it sometimes because it just doesn't seem like it ought to be right. And those of you that are older will know what I'm talking about. Because even though I remember all those years, in my mind, it just wasn't that long ago that I was a young fella running around, fancy free and full of vim and vigor and all that stuff. And it really does seem to happen just overnight sometimes. So, yeah. So I have a little trouble wrapping my head around it that I'm this age sometimes. And then other times when the aches and pains sets in, then I don't have that hard a time sometimes. But yep, that's what it's like. So speaking of work, I was this is the one thing I wanted to talk about. Uh, Kyler says my father always used to come back with, "Sir, you don't call me sir. I work for a living." Right, exactly. And but if y'all, I guess I can go ahead and start getting this out there. I wanted to wait till a few more show up because I know how YouTube is. It's slow on the uptake, slow on sending out the notifications and so forth. So wanted to wait till as many were here as going to be here before I went into the story because I've had a lot of questions because of some things I posted on Twitter the other day. First of all, before I get into that story, uh, what day was it? Oh, it was yesterday morning. Yeah, Quinn, sometimes I don't get notifications at all. It just depends on the channel and what day it is. And then sometimes I'll get the notifications hours later after it's all said and done. But yesterday morning, I was getting ready for work. Well, actually, at that point, I was just drinking some coffee, smoking a cigarette, trying to get my head together. I always give myself plenty of time um, uh, before I go to work. For instance, on Sunday mornings, and I only live 4 minutes from work. I can flat get to work in 4 minutes, and that's without hurrying. It's just, and it wouldn't take that long if there wasn't like half a dozen stop signs and stoplights in between here and there. It's just, in my younger days, I could probably come close to hitting it with a rock from here. But anyway, so just before but as I was saying on Sundays, I have to be there I have to open at 8:45, and so I will get up at 6:45. That's just my rule. I get up 2 hours ahead, and that gives me because I hate to be in a rush. Hey Beth, how you doing? I hate to be in a rush. I don't like rushing around and doing things. I like to give myself enough time, in case something comes up. So I'll set it 2 hours ahead. It gives me time to drink some coffee, smoke a cigarette, shuffle into the shower, make me some cigarettes for the day because y'all know I roll my own, and then drink another cup of coffee, smoke another cigarette, that kind of thing. And then I'll leave here and get there at about a half hour, whatever my start time is. I'll get there usually 25 minutes to 30 minutes early. That's just the way I always have been. Hey, Shio, because you never know what's going to happen. You get theater visitor, hey, um, you could have a flat tire, your car could break down, who knows what can happen. So I like to give myself plenty of time because, again, I don't like to rush and I don't like to just walk straight in and go to work. I hate that, always have hated that. I like to give myself enough time to get my head into work mode, you know. And so I'll show up there, and on the days that I open, that just means I'm the only one sitting in there early in the morning, sitting and drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes until start time because they won't let me clock in too early because they're very protective of their hours. Anyway, hey Mickey. Uh, so yesterday, just before I'm getting ready to leave, I put it out a tweet, about how I wasn't couldn't wait, or hadn't even went in yet, was already looking forward to getting a nap when I got home, which I didn't get, by the way, because I didn't get to get out of there quick enough, and I wanted to watch the ball game. So, hey, Mad Max, and anyway, I ended it with the word seizures. I didn't think a thing about it because it used to be a thing between me and a buddy of mine. We instead of saying "see you," we just say seizures. Well, I said that, and everybody took it. So many people took it seriously and thought I was having seizures. So when I got home from work, I had my notifications was so full of people saying, "Are you all right? You okay? Don't." And I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh. I am so thankful that you all care enough about me that you were concerned. But it was just a joke. Maybe not a very good joke, but a joke. It was a play on words. So the next time you see me post that, no, it's just a way of saying see ya. Oh, I have to come home and I'm like, oh my gosh. I even had Alex and Dax were DMing me and making groups and like answer me, and I'm at work, so I didn't know all this was going on. I don't have Twitter on my phone, and that's by design. I'm not gonna have it on my phone. I don't want to have it on my phone. I did know that they sent me a DM because I get an email when that happens, but it doesn't tell me what's in the DM. Just tells me I have one. And so when I got home, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is all this? My goodness. And what did I do? What did I start? Because it was on my part, it was just an innocent thing. Didn't mean to alarm everybody. I was just trying to tell a joke, maybe a bad one, but it was a joke. Oh my goodness. But anyway, yeah, that happened. So the other thing, I spinners, you can't be doing no maybe too old for me say things like that. Yeah, I know. I just didn't think it never occurred to me that people would would take that so seriously. Hey, Mama Minnie, how you doing? Have you give your sister happy birthday wishes yet? Because she got old today. That's what I tweeted her. You're officially old today. You're 30. But so, all right. On to the big topic that a lot of you want to know about. Because uh, no, I am not leaving the jokes just to you, Shio. No way, no way. So, yeah, those of you that follow me on Twitter also know that I mentioned the other day I darn near lost my job, and in fact, at the time that I first tweeted it, I wasn't sure I had a job. And yeah, it was pretty stressful couple of days for me. I didn't explain it because Twitter's not good for long explanations. And if you're not familiar with my business, what I do, it's not going to make a lot of sense to you without some background. So strap in. I'll try to make this as short as possible, but make it to where it can be understood. Um, Most of you know that I work at a smoke shop. Light a cigarette here before I tell a story. Um, you hit 33 yesterday. She said, well, happy belated birthday to you. Um, so anyway, I work at a smoke shop, and one of the things that there, if you sell tobacco products, whether you're a smoke shop or a gas station or grocery store or whatever, that they're really on it about is checking IDs of people trying to buy tobacco. And I don't know if this is nationwide or not. I just know about my state. Here in my state, they have a program that's called BARS, and BARS is a independent, I believe, government-funded group um, that hire young-looking people. They are 21, but they look young. Um, hey, Lindsay, how you doing? Uh, and uh, and I don't mean this to sound racist because it's not. It's just what they tend to do. They tend to hire a lot of young black girls because I guess they tend to look young, younger than they are. Uh, and they go around and they secret shop places that sell tobacco. And if you card them, you get a green card, which means you pass. If you failed, you get a red card. In my company, a red card is instant termination, no questions asked. There's no. It's a no tolerance policy. You're gone if you get a red card. Now I never worried about it too much. I've already had like three green cards and so forth up to this point. And I was working. This was last Wednesday evening. Well, it would have been afternoon at this point. My manager hadn't even barely left, and I was kind of busy. I had people. I seen the girl come in, but I had a customer in front of her, and so forth. And when I got to her, and you get to where you can tell, you're like you already in your head. It's all right. This is a bars person. I already know, and I already knew it was a bars person. So I'm already in my head. I'm gonna card her, and she asked her what she wanted, and she told me Marlboro Reds, salt pack or something. I don't remember, but I grabbed them, scanned them on the machine because that brings up the age verification screen on my register. That's how my register works. Before I even got turned around from grabbing the cigarette, she already had a red card laid out face down on the counter. So she'd already made up her mind somehow that I was going to fail. And mind you, I told you I knew she's bars. Next question out of my mouth was, "Can I see your ID?" When I scanned it and started to ask her for her ID, she flips over the red card, and I said, "What do you? I even argued with her. What are you talking about? I haven't sold you anything. I haven't sold you a thing. I'm in no danger of selling you anything. My screen here is still on the age verification screen. I can't sell you anything till I get past that. The register won't let you do anything until an age is inputted or an ID scanned." And she says, "Doesn't matter. You didn't ID me when I walked in here." Well, first of all, by looking at her, to my eyes, she looked old enough to be in there. She was 21, but she didn't look 30, so I would have ID'd her. And as I said, they were, I was busy. I had a customer in front of me. So, anyway, I, as you can imagine, I was really upset because I know what the rules are. I know that it's instant termination. So I instantly text my manager. Said, "Well, I guess I'm out of work. I just got red carded." So he immediately calls me like, "What are you talking about? What's going on?" And I gave him the story of what happened, exactly how it came down. And uh, and he says, I said, "I guess I'm out of work, because I know how what the company line is." But he says, "No, no, 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 don't worry about it. Don't worry. Um, Not yet. We'll see what we can do, because I gave him the whole explanation, and the whole thing was on camera. So my story of what was going on was backed up. And, but I wasn't going to have an answer, right away. So as you can imagine, my mind's in a turmoil because I did not get an answer till it was almost ready for me to start the next day. And I wasn't even going to sure I was going to start the next day because the next day, um, you know, we have a we have a website that we have to log in, verify our time, our schedule goes on there, and all that and everything. And anytime there's a change to my schedule, I get an email, and I got an email and checked it, and I was removed from the schedule. So that was the next morning, and he I texted him. I said, "Well, does that mean what I think it means?" He goes, "No, no, no, no. I have to do that just in case. No, we're not done yet." So, a quarter to one the next day is when I finally got word of what was going to happen, and uh, they went and they pulled all the tapes. They looked at everything. They seen that the girl already had a red card, but not a green card laid out. Even before I turned around and grabbed the pack, I don't know if she was just having a bad day or she's getting a quota of she has to uh, fail so many people. Even though in a lot of places like mine, it's going to mean your job or whatever. Uh, and whatever. But they reviewed it all, and amazingly, I was amazed at how much backup I was getting in the company. My manager was backing me up, which I expected. He's a good guy. My DM was going to bat for me. Her boss was going to bat for me, all the way up the chain. Till finally they said, "Okay, we've seen the films. He didn't technically do anything wrong. There's things he could have done differently." And I admitted I could have done some things differently to avoid it, but I didn't do anything wrong at all. Because even on the red card, it said that I had tried to sell her tobacco, which I had not. I was in no danger of ever doing so. Anyway, long story short, I get to keep my job. I didn't get off scot free. I got a final write up, which means that from now until I terminate my employee there, it will follow me. If I ever get any more issues having to do with ID people, I'm gone, no questions asked. And I have to retake a training program that's online. It takes about a half hour. Uh, Watch some videos and take a little test about IDing people. But yeah, that's why the tweets. That's why I almost lost my job, and you can imagine I was pretty stressed out there for about 24 hours or whatever. During the story, I've seen a lot of you say, here places here card everyone. Mom misses you have to ask ID before touching product. I'd got green cards before by following the same procedure. But on that note, um, on that, the word is, well, it's more than a word. It's coming here in my state. Uh, it's going to come down the pike here very shortly that everybody's ID not only has to be checked but has to be scanned. I don't care if you're 80 years old. You're going to have to hand me an ID card, and I'm going to have to scan it with my register to make sure that it works. Now, that's going to avoid some of those issues, but it's going to bring some more issues with it because sometimes around here we get IDs that aren't driver's license, and they're not going to register as easily on the cash register. Such as I got one which was an immigration card here a couple of weeks ago. I get military IDs. I get out of state driver's license, which won't scan on my machine because it'll only scan Indiana driver's license. Um so yeah, that's where our state's going. So it'll help solve some of that, but it's going to bring its own problems with it. And here in this area is going to take a lot of people off because, there's the way old conservative rednecks are, don't tell me what to do. But you're going to have to. Shale says until you terminate the employer. No, until I terminate my employment, which, I still plan on retiring in a year and a half. So until that time, that's what worried me the most. I'm like, I'm only going to go another year and a half. Come on, don't lose my job now. Anyway, I get to keep that. I still get to keep my position. I get to keep my pay. They didn't dock my pay, any of that stuff. So could have turned out a whole lot worse. But there for about 24 hours, I was pretty nervous and pretty upset. But now you know why I couldn't say it on Twitter, because Twitter's just not a good place to tell a long story uh, with any kind of background to it whatsoever. Hey, Jack Gunsey, how you doing? Haven't seen you in one of my streams for a bit. Um, Robin Inglesons is here. Anytime I buy cities, I need to show ID. I'm 73 in California. Yeah, and that's the way it's going to be here very, very, very soon. Um, very soon. Um, and on that same note, this is away from the subject a little bit, but kind of on it. Last week, the government of Indiana, the governor of Indiana, said that we've moved to phase 5. I think he called it, which means that one thing it means is that restaurants and local bars and so forth can have more people in. They can relax their restrictions a little bit, which is good to see. Uh, I mean, we're right next door to a bar, and I know that they're darn near out of business because of all this COVID stuff. And the other thing that comes along with it means that I can also go see my dad now because I'll still have to wear a mask, but I can at least get inside of where he's at. Retirement homes and so forth are opening up with restriction, but before you wasn't even that. You just could not get in unless you stood outside their window or something. Um, but anyway, so I'm kind of happy about that. But that's my week in a nutshell right there. Yeah, I was pretty stressed out there for a little while, and had no idea what I was going to do, um, or whatever. Um, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Like I said, I didn't have anything really planned coming into this. I just knew I wanted to catch up with y'all and talk. Not even sure we're going to go an entire 2 hours. I don't know. I've still got to retake that. I need to get that testing for work done before I go back tomorrow. I've got till October 2nd, but I know me, if I procrastinate, it'll be October 2nd before I do it. So I need to get that going sometime today. I was hoping to look. I've developed It's probably a squeaky belt, but I've developed a squeak in the motor of my truck. But my one day off, wouldn't you know, it's rained. So it's raining here today. She was on vacation. I phoned up the hotel where she's staying at, and the receptionist said, "Oh, Best Western." I replied, "Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood." Well, that wouldn't have been my answer, although it would have been a Clint. It could have been a Clint Eastwood movie. I liked Unforgiven. I liked his older spaghetti westerns better, but I'm old school. Like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Fistful of Dollars and Hang 'em High. Um, but Cynical says, getting a final warning doesn't seem fair, especially if everyone said you were nothing wrong. I can understand verbal warning. Yeah, I know, Lindsay. They had to, and I knew that they were going to have to do something, you know, um, to kind of smack me on the hands or whatever. I was afraid they were going to dock my pay because I had just gotten a dollar raise, and I was afraid they were going to take that away, but they didn't, and you know, uh, and I'm not that concerned about it. And trust me, from here on out, if I even suspect that somebody is bars or that they're young, I'm going to ask before I even touch the cigarette. And the reason I do that, and I explained it to my district manager, the reason I done it that way, and the reason I have done it that way, is on our system, on our registers, there where I work, that brings up the ID screen. That's why I did that, not to sell her the cigarettes, but to bring up the ID screen. So yeah, and they could look on the cameras and clearly see on the cameras that that's where I was at, was on the ID screen. But uh, Robin Eagleson, I love The Magnificent Seven with Yul Brynner, another good movie. Robin, I loved all the. Of course, you said you're 73, so you're 13 years older than I am. You, like I, were raised on westerns. I love a lot of the old westerns. And I found out long ago, if I want to clear my house out, all I got to do is turn on an old John Wayne movie, and everybody will skedaddle, and I get to sit there and enjoy a good movie by myself. Iceman Northland says, my opinion, they should have only just asked you to ask for identification for retrieving any tobacco products, and then that whole discussion there. Yeah, they could have. They could have, but I expected them to do something. I did. So I'm not terribly unhappy with the way that it turned out. I really don't want to go online and do this because I've already done it once. This training video thing. It is in your work. You may have done training videos, and you know how silly, cheesy they are. You know, silly, cheesy. That it's just so cheesy and so stupid, and I want to groan every time. I hate work training videos because they're always so cheesy. Mommy says, "Who's everybody?" Well, I didn't know you liked westerns. I don't remember you sitting there with me when I was watching John Wayne. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. It does. It gives it something to go on there. But the cheesiness makes them fun. Well, if I didn't have to do it, it might be fun. But sitting through it thinking, and then trying to pay attention so that you can answer the quiz at the end, it's just, I just don't like it. But yeah, I got to get that done. Uh, Iceman Earth says, "Oh yes, you should see the safety videos related to oil fields. Oh my goodness, cheesy doesn't begin to come to. Oh, it's yeah." Mommy says, "I spent many an hour watching westerns, mainly with Papa." Yeah, your Papa, my dad, sure loved his westerns and still does. And don't know if you got the word or not, kiddo, but he fell again. So I don't know any more details than that. other than he's now seeing and talking to people who aren't there again. So, yeah. But anyway, he sure did love it. And that's where I got my love for the old westerns. It's also my dad is where I got my love for science fiction and so forth because he was a big time science fiction watcher back in those days. She addresses there's a new cowboy film out filmed in Spain where all the characters black. It's called a machete western. Okay. Um, but yeah. Oh, well, Scribe is went live with his. I'm not sure if it's a stream or a premiere or whatever. So I know some of you might be going over there to watch that, and that's cool. That's cool. When I tried to make my stream schedule, I realized pretty quickly there's no time to do it that you're not going to be in conflict with somebody that you know is going to be streaming or uh, premiering at that time. So I don't even bother. But if you want to go over and watch that, that is cool. Uh, don't blame you. Like I said, I'm not even real sure just how long I'm gonna go with the stream here. Just wanted to really basically touch base with everybody. Pat, yep, nope. Somebody's always going to be streaming. Exactly. It's just don't even try to arrange it because I did. I tried real hard to try to pick times that nobody else was going to be streaming, so I didn't interfere with their stuff, and they didn't interfere with mine. Like, forget about it. Forget about it. Ain't gonna happen. Um, but let you a thumbs up. But we have everybody have a good. Thank you, Robin, and thanks for stopping by. Good, thank you. Um, getting a little bit of a rough throat here. Let me get a drink coffee. Ah, that's better. All right. So, what else we got? That was my story of my week and what happened at work and the misunderstanding on Twitter over seizures. Uh, that still cracks me up. You should have seen when I got home and I logged in to see what Alex and Dax were, and they were so upset. They thought I'd really had a seizure or something. Or you okay? Okay? Are you okay? Oh my gosh, they took that serious. It was just a joke, a single word. I didn't say I've had a seizure. I just said seizures. Just I'm sorry. I know some of you were legit upset. I'm sorry, and I'm not laughing at you being legit upset. I actually appreciate it, but you gotta admit it's funny. Hey Kyle, how you doing? Um, Best you can do is pick a time that nothing you want to watch is streaming. Yeah, that too. That too. Although I did just see that Neebs Gaming just uploaded, and I always watch all of their content as soon as I can. But I'll be watching that later. Um, that's probably the only channel that I try to watch as soon as they come out because they make me laugh. The Neebs Gaming crew. Scribe had a last minute change, so he might be streaming later. Oh, okay. Cannibalistic Wizard, what's good, you dinosaur? I don't know. You tell me. You know. Glad you didn't ask what's up, because my usual answer to that is my blood pressure, the rent, ceiling. Take your pick. Seizure or Caesar, as in the salad. Also, no, seizure, as in have a Caesar. Seizure. Now I can't say it. But it's just a play on words. There was, I think I started saying that back. There's a friend of mine, Mom Minnie will know who I'm talking about, Fraley, that I used to work with. And that was I worked with him. And when our shifts were over and we were both getting ready to come home, that's what we would both say to it is Caesars. And it's just a habit I picked up then. Uh, but Yeah, Caesar salad. Boy, that's not a salad I'd want to eat. Not a salad that I'd want to try. But yeah. Um, Quinn the Cultist asked, "Did you hear that Armenia and Azerbaijan are going to duke it out?" I've seen something about it on Twitter. I don't know the ins and outs and everything, but that area of the world, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I don't know what it's about. Something around their border, probably a border dispute or something. I don't know. Haven't checked greatly into it, but yeah, I had heard. Um, it's hard to glean the really interesting stuff. Hey, Terra Dallas, yep, I'm alive. Uh, it's hard to glean the really interesting stuff or important stuff out on Twitter anymore because it's just so full of back and forth from left and right, and it's just. I've seen a Canadian person. I know they're Canadian because I follow them on Twitter. It was either yesterday or the day before. Tweet out that they'll be so glad when the American election is over because it's polluting their timeline. And I almost tweeted, "How do you think we feel?" Because it's in more than our Twitter timelines. It's everywhere and in every conversation, and it's just. And of course, every election year, and at my age, I've been through a few. It's the same thing. It's the same. And by the time the election gets here, I am so over it. So over it. Even in the days before social media and the internet, I mean, it'd be all over your TV and all over the radio, and it just. Ugh. Uh, Hubert Dance describes Ted's scream with Kurt Metzger is being postponed. Oh, well, I hope nothing too serious there. Cynical says, "My birthday is this Saturday." Well, happy birthday early birthday to you, Lindsay. Um, Not going to ask how old you be because I was raised in the area where you don't ask a lady her age. You just, even though I have to constantly at work, because even though I may not have to scan their card, everybody that buys cigarettes, I have to get their birthday. You got to get past that screen. Um, just last minute schedule conflict. Gotcha. Um, okay, but do hate to hear that for him though. I hear his TED streams are pretty good. And Scribe's been a YouTube friend of mine since almost the beginning. And here very shortly, I'm coming up on 5 years. Actually, Monkey and I will celebrate our YouTube anniversary in the same week in October. So, um, yeah, which is coming up pretty quick. Of course, some of these people that I'm real good friends with have done a lot better than I have here with my 1,300 subscribers, give or take. Um, but hey, some of my subscribers come back, a few of them. YouTube's been playing games with my subscribers. You know how they can be. And it keeps fluctuating by 100. It'll be back and then it'll be gone and be back. And I don't know what's going on. Yeah, we have also have a early birthday synchronicity. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with my with channel, and most of that is my fault because of schedule conflicts, and before that, I've had different schedule conflicts for different reasons come happen over the years and have to disappear for a month or two, and that kind of thing has not helped me for sure. So I understand that. I get it. I also understand that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't kind of an acquired taste like coffee, you know. Um, but once you get to know me, then that's it. But yeah, but yeah, Scribe's probably one of my oldest uh, friends on YouTube. I'm not sure if I first met him on one of Alex's old Irate Bear streams, or if it was first. I know I've been on those streams with him, or if I met Scribe on a Base Mama stream. I can't remember. I'm leaning toward the Irate Bear stream, but known him a long time, and Monkey a long time, and Alex and Tailed Feature and different ones have been on. And of course, I mentioned Monkey and Pat. Pat's probably my oldest YouTube friend because we got to know each other even before I made a channel. We got to know each other from Suit Yourself's channel when he done a guest shot on there. Um, if you could be a type of tea, what kind would you be? I don't know. I'm not really a tea drinker. The only real tea that I am personally familiar with is good old Southern sweet tea. So I guess that would be it, you know. And other than that, I'm not really a tea drinker. I do drink hot tea on rare occasion, you know, maybe 4 or 5 times a year. That's about it. Other than that, I'm a coffee guy all the way. Um, Jack Gunsky says people in this sphere have been amazing people. I wouldn't have a stream otherwise. Yeah, I've made a lot of good friends in this area of YouTube. As I've also made a lot of acquaintances that are now gone or have flipped. Seems to be a big thing now. Flipping to the other side. Don't understand that, and I'm not going to get all off on it because it'll just get me angry, and I don't want to get mad today. Kyler says, "Oh crap, I got to go to work. Y'all have a good one." Yeah, see you, Kyler. And I know the feels. I know how that goes. But thanks for stopping in, buddy. Before you went, have a good day. Um, if Western women feed infants with tiny plastic spoons, do Chinese women use toothpicks? Oh Lord, have mercy. That was bad even for you. Even for you. Yeah. But it always amazes me. Even back up to a couple of years ago, people say, "Well, I didn't know you had a channel." They would see me around in streams, didn't know I had. I'm like, "Yeah, I've had a channel ever since all these other people have." And I used to say that I'm the one of the best kept secrets on YouTube. Even though I wasn't trying to be a secret. It's just every time I turn around, I didn't know you had a channel. Well, yeah, I do. And back in the day, I uploaded a lot of content. A lot. Back when I started, shoot, I was uploading content, 4 and 5 times a week. It was pretty regular. Jack Gunsky says, I can usually tell if someone's going to flip. They're usually the people with the most unnuanced takes, like this is bad kind of stuff. Yeah. John Smith, Sprint Cars Rule Blowing Hot. How you doing? Um, but yeah, that does seem to be a trend lately. Flipping, and flipping on your people that used to be your friends. You know, Uh, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Of course, I probably never would because like I've said before, I am basically who I was 40 years ago. When I was a young person. Sure, there's been some little changes here and things that I've learned along the way, but my basic core who I am has not changed. I've not changed politics. I've not changed my belief systems. Yeah, all you need, yeah, half for the week. You remember that. So I don't, I tend to have a hard time understanding people that just flip on a dime anyway, and completely flip around on who they are and what they espouse. I don't get that because it's never been me ever at all. And I'm 60 years old, and I'm basically the same person I was when I was 18, 20. The core of me, the core of me. Sure, I've learned lessons along the way and how not to be stupid and different things. But Sean says I'm dumber than I used to be after having two strokes. I shouldn't be surprised though. Yeah, yeah, and I feel you. And strokes run in my family, and I'm at very high risk for stroke with different reasons. And it's almost to the point where it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it happens. So, yeah, I get you, man. But yeah, I don't get that. But yeah, by and large, I've always told people that by and large, for the most part, say what you want about this little area of YouTube that you want, but I've found them mostly to be good people. And I've made some good, long lasting friendships here. And you can say what you want. You can't really be friends with somebody when they're, over the internet. Well, yeah, you can, because I've had some really long lasting friends here. How often do you make internet friends and they're still your friend 5 years later? And I can name off several that I'm good friends with, you know, in fairly constant contact with uh, on the internet. So, yeah, by and large, they've been good people, and we've done some good things. I remember being on Irate Bear's channel. I know he's Alex now, but then he was Irate Bear, and having that charity live stream for Charlie to get him the devices he need to make his life a little easier, and that went over in a very short amount of time. We reached our goal. Um, does anyone know what happened? Describe. The only thing I know, John, is that there were schedule conflicts. Is the only thing that I know. So he had to reschedule or what have you. Sorry, I know we had dead air there for a minute. I am old, and every once in a while you have those uh, senior moments, and you just brain's still working, but the mouth don't function. It don't want to come out. Uh, let's see what else we got. Um, and people are going nuts, I guess, because Trump is accused of only paying $750 in federal income tax in 2016 and 2017. Whatever. I don't care how much you paid in income tax. No, I'm not that old. Not that old, but I'm not that young either. You know, they keep telling me that 60 is the new 50. I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, not spring chicken either. Um, of course, at my age, if I think old, I think like my dad. He's 81. That's old. But, um, but no, I'm not. I probably got another maybe 20 years left in me. That's okay. Um, yeah, exactly, Lindsay. That's my point, and it wasn't going to be a very long conflict because that's where it begins and ends with me. If you don't like people, Trump or whoever it is, making use of the loopholes, then fix it. Instead of blaming those that took advantage of it. If my dad were still alive today, he'd be 80 and I'm 30. Yeah, my parents were pretty young when I was born. Very, very young. Mom was 18, dad was 21 when I was born. And no, it wasn't a have to case that they got married. They'd been married 2 years before I come along, and I'm the oldest. So um, the Democrats associate taxes with morality since it pays for social programs. Yeah, I just wish they would associate looting and rioting and burning down businesses and harassing people in their own homes with morality. Then we might get somewhere. Um, yeah, hate the game, not the player. Exactly. Uh, Keeper Jensen, my mom was 36 and he was 50. He was previously married. Um, it's no surprise to you. I've never hid the fact, I don't hide the fact that I'm a Christian, and I was brought up always to believe, hate the sin, not the sinner, and that's the take I've got on this. Don't you know, don't blame the person that used it. Blame the system. Uh, Another 69 years. Oh, good Lord, I hope not. I do not want to live to be 129 years old. Not if the shape that I'm in right now is any indication of what it's going to be like then. No, thank you. Uh, yeah, John, 55 here, Dad, 84, Uncle, 93. I'm looking good. Yeah, you know, it is what you make out of it. Age is what you make out of it. My only problem, I don't mind being 60. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm not one of them people that get freaked out because I'm having another birthday. Big whoop, don't care. Um, it's just that I'm not in the best of health, mostly my own doings. But you don't think about that when you're younger. But now I'm older and now I'm paying for those younger days. So yeah, that's the only part of it I really don't particularly like. And one of the reasons that it helped make me make the decision that I was going to retire at 62, because I still, first of all, I'm not sure Social Security is going to be around long enough for me to wait till I'm 67, which is how old I would have to be to retire at my age group. Don't know if you know that, but depending on when you're born is how old you got to be, and they keep raising it for later age groups. So by the time some of you get old enough to retire, you might have to be 80 before you can retire. I don't know, but yeah, I can't guarantee it's going to be there. And, at that point, I might be in worse health, and I want to have at least a couple of years to enjoy myself with my grandkids after retirement. Um, you know, uh, and I've got the 401k I can put with it. I've done the math. It'll work out. It's fine. It actually isn't going to be that much different than what I'm making now working. So, um, well, Biden has been in office 180 years, so could be worse. You could be that old. Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying why he was sold when I was born. Also, my grandma turns 92 next month. Yeah, yeah. My mom also retired at 62. My dad retired when he was 48. Yeah, my dad retired early too. He retired in his 50s. He was forced to retire though by the post office because he has rheumatoid arthritis severely. So he just couldn't do the job anymore. And yeah, but at least they offered him full retirement at, I think he was 55, 56, somewhere in that area. Lindsay says, let's face it, Social Security will be obsolete by the time I reach retirement ends, hence why I've got a four. And it's a smart idea. If I could give you guys any kind of advice at all, is to get you one of those and stay with it. And number one, haha, retire. World War III and the big reset will hit before that. I'm best to keep my savings in my mattress. Maybe, but I don't know about that. My missus need to bring Red up here and see these monsters before the oldest outgrows you. I know. Or you could come down here and see me, because that's the way it's supposed to work. Now, um, it's over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go, not the other way around. My mom retired early too because of her back. She could not stand up at her job for long periods of time anymore. Yeah. Hey, Jay Wolf. And you've missed my stream. Well, that makes two of it. I miss doing them. It's just my work schedule has interfered greatly. Uh, yeah, I see, and I'm not in too different a shape here, kiddo. Trust me, I miss them badly. You and your sister's kids, and you know, if I had my druthers, I'd see them all 10 of them every day. But we don't always get what we want. Um, See you, Keeper Dam. And if you'll, I get it. If you want to jump over and see Scribe's stream, be my guest. I won't hold any grudges. I don't hold that kind of grudge. You go watch what you want to watch. It's up to you. You're not going to hurt me. Um, like I said, I'm not even sure this is going to go the full 2 hours anyway. Um, but the one thing I am going to have to do is I'm going to have to get up and turn the ceiling fan on. So please bear with me for. Oh, I got waved off and told that my wife's going to turn it on because it's getting hot in here. So wins in baseball. Don't follow baseball, CO. I like to play, and I was a decent player. It's actually the only sport I ever lettered in school was baseball. I was a pretty decent second baseman, but I've never liked to watch it. Love to play it. Never liked to watch it. Bores the crap out of me to watch. Love to play though. Have I ever seen the original Grudge movie? No, I don't think so. That was Japanese, right? I don't watch too much J horror because they don't scare me. They make me roll my eyes, but what scares the Japanese just don't scare me. I just don't find them scary. But that's just me, People do, and hey, it that's cool too. It's honestly though, it's hard to find a movie or a game that scares me anymore. And I've often told Alex many times because you know how goosey he is. He gets scared real easy playing games and stuff. And I've told him several times, and J-Kid has told him several times because he's the same as I am. I'm envious. I wished I could feel that, but it's just don't scare that easy. Beth Kelsman says the Cubs are in the postseason. Uh, yeah, uh, I guess. Like I said, I've never been much of a baseball fan. I know a lot of people are, and good for you. I'm not picking on it at all. I've just personally always found it boring to watch. I've tried to sit down and watch baseball, and I certainly understand baseball. Like I said, it was probably my best sport and the only one that I lettered in school. Um, but because at one time I was a pretty decent second baseman, and as I got older, I played in a lot of softball leagues from work and so forth. But I just never have been able to watch it. It just I get bored before the game's over. It just like, or I fall asleep. That's what happens. Fall asleep. It'd be a good way for me to fall asleep turn on a baseball game. Um, Hockey is best to watch live. I've tried watching hockey and I don't hate it. I just don't understand it. I don't quite understand all the rules and so forth, and all that. So it's hard for me to become a fan because I don't understand the game that well. Quinn the Cultist's only game that scared me was Dead Space. I played Dead Space. Uh, I don't remember being scared. Maybe startled a couple of times, with a jump scare here and there. And to me, that's not that's cheap. Jump scares are so cheap, and I don't mind a jump scare in a movie or a game once in a while, as long as that's not all there is. Because if it becomes just jump scare fest, then that's just cheap, because that's not really a scare, that's a startle, make you jump. Um, but yeah, I do love old horror movies. Of course, my favorite ones tend to be old ones. Was happened to catch a monkey in the morning the other day, and he was talking about old school, about different scary movies. Was asking everybody what scary movies they like. Him and Jack, but uh, uh, I mentioned that I thought that the old school, in I was in the chat, I wasn't in the stream. Uh, Old school Psycho, the original Psycho, still holds up yet today, and Jack agreed. And Monkey says, "I've never seen it and never will." And he says, "You want to know why?" And everybody's like, "No, what? Because it's in black and white." Okay. So a lot of my favorites are gonna probably be back black and white. Some of you all might not like that or whatever. I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. I've heard people pick on old movies because they're in black and white. And well, we got color now. Why can't they colorize it? Because that does away with the whole. Sometimes black and white was chosen for the atmosphere of the film. You know, so if you're cutting out all black and white films, you're cutting out a whole section of cinema that is quite enjoyable. You know, um, but yeah, a lot of my favorite horror movies are probably going to fall in the black and white category, or they're going to be older movies because as time moved on, in my opinion, as we got to the 80s and got into the 90s, it just started going into just gore fests and just nothing but jump scares, and the psychology of it was just ditched, and it was just gross outs, and that's just not me. I like a movie or a story that gets in your head and makes you feel dread, and makes you feel, scared that way. Um, to ride Dallas, young Frankenstein was in black and white, and it helps. Exactly, it was on purpose. They filmed that in because that was filmed well into the color age. They did it for the atmosphere and for the feeling that it lent to it, and it was on purpose. Um, and that's a tactic that had been used for years. I mean, and think about it. You go all the way back to the Wizard of Oz. The original Wizard of Oz, and the first part and the ending part of that are filmed in black and white. Only the parts where she's in the land of Oz is in color, and that was a purposeful thing that they done for the atmosphere and the feeling. Um, so yeah, I just I don't get that. And the reasoning that Monkey gave for it was that because as he grew up, the only color TV in his house was in the front room, and his parents dominated that. So when he and his brothers finally got a TV, it was just an old black and white TV. Well, boo hoo. Sorry, Monkey, I love you, but boo hoo. My family didn't even have a color TV until I was 16 years old. And we had it 2 months before it got stole. So, boo. you know, for 16 years, I grew up on old, and they weren't even new black and whites. They were secondhand given to us with the knobs all torn off. You had to change the channels with a pair of pliers and tin foil and stuff all over the rabbit ears and good lord. Hey, you do you. If you don't like black and white films, go ahead. But you're missing out on a lot of great cinema by not watching black and white films. Cynical says, Lindsay says, a horror movie today suck. Yeah, they do. Nothing but remakes and sequels, and it seems that any original horror movie today is nothing but cheap scares. Yeah. However, having said that, sometimes on movie platforms like Netflix and Hulu and that kind of thing, you can find a gem if you look. Might not be well advertised, might be foreign, might even have subtitles because I've found some that were not bad, that were foreign films or, things that I've never heard of before and were cheaply made on a budget with no name actors, and you can still find those if you look. And all you need says, we were the last family on our block to have a color TV, 1977. Yeah, well, it was 1976 when we got one. So, yeah, right there with you. Uh, I'd been watching Star Trek since it was on original run, before it was in syndication. It was on original run in what was it, 66? And it was into the 70s before I realized they had different colored uniforms on. All I'd ever seen them on was a black and white TV. Um, but you know, it's but back to what I was saying about if you look, you can find a gem once in a while. It's been a while since I have found one, but I have. Um, just digging around in what they have and looking from movie to movie instead of what they're recommending to me. Um, and so forth. I have found some good gems mixed among there, and that's always been. I mean, uh, look at Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead movie. We look back on it now, and those of you that are younger might look back on it. Well, that's a classic, and yeah, but do you know when it came out and nobody had heard of any of these kids? These were college kids, and it was filmed on an extreme budget. I mean, to the point where the cabin they filmed in was one of their uncle's cabin, you know, and the car they come driving up in was actually one of their cars. They were just a bunch of college kids trying to make a film, and it became this thing, you know, a whole series. uh, but yeah, so I guess the lesson there is don't be afraid to try something that you've never heard of. Don't be afraid to give a movie that you've never heard of or might look like it's made on the cheap or whatever a chance, because sometimes those can turn out to be real gems. And I'm not even against foreign movies. If I've got to read subtitles, I'm okay with that. A couple of those have been really good. There was one called Stakeland that I really enjoyed. It's been a few years ago, but it was subtitles, or at least the version of it that I watched was. Um, Speaking of my birthday, the first episode of TNG aired in parts of the country yesterday for the first time. Oh yeah. Um, and yeah, Sega says that iconic Oldsmobile became an inside joke. Raimi used the car as an Easter egg in several of his non-Evil Dead movies. Yeah, exactly. But it all started because these college kids got together and decided they wanted to make a movie. It was it. Made really on the cheap. But look what they did with the money they had. And just goes to show you, you don't need millions and millions and tens of millions hundreds of millions of dollars to make a good movie. You just don't. You can either make a good movie or you can't, because they sure made it on a shoestring, you know. But it worked. It worked. It was a great mix of scares and of humor, and it just worked. You know, uh, I still love those movies to this day. You know, um, but yeah, by and large, horror movies, and we've talked about that a lot. This is nothing new on this channel and talked about it. There just aren't that many good horror movies anymore. Can't remember the last really good one I've seen or come across. I've seen some that weren't a complete waste of time, but I wasn't going to write home about it either. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah, okay. Well, it wasn't an hour and a half wasted, but I'm going to forget about it next week or tomorrow, you know? Whereas the really good ones stick with you, you know? It's a similar story for Peter Jackson's first movie, Bad Taste. Yeah, never seen that movie, but I've seen a lot of clips from it. It took years to make on a shoestring budget. You never would have guessed he shot that movie for cheap. Special effects are top notch. Yeah, yeah, and the Raimi bunch done really well for what they had to work with on there. You know, um, I remember when my friends wasted my time when we watched Zombie. Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't even bother with that one because it was pretty clear from the get go, just from the title, that yeah, maybe not. You know, and I'm not opposed to just mindless funs. I enjoy the old what are they uh, the old Night of the Living Dead movies series. The ones where they ate the brains, uh, and they're just good, stupid fun. They're just stupid fun, is what it is. It wasn't meant to be any land-breaking horror film, and it was meant to be just a fun little romp. And I enjoy them, and there's a place for that. But if I'm going to watch a film to scare me and to unsettle me, uh, but I'm going to look for a film that gets in my head, that gives me that feeling of dread. I might not even see the monster. Sometimes that's a mistake a lot of people make. I've heard, I forget who said it. It was a famous director who said it. I can't remember, but you don't show your monster in 5 minutes. And some of the best movies never ever showed the big bad until the very end. You know. Um, Return to the Living Dead. Thank you, Lindsay. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy that. It's it's just good, silly fun, is what it's meant to be, and for what it's meant to be, it pulls off. Shio says, "Ever play Left for Dead?" I've played both of them actually. Some of my favorite games. They're just mindless shoot 'em ups. I do enjoy the feeling they're trying to make it feel like you're in a movie, with the whole credits, casting credits at the end of it, and all of that. And there's some good lines in there. Like I think was it the first one? When you first turn it on and it's showing a cut scene and gets it, and there's, oh, we made it, and the old army looking guy says, "Kid, we just made it across the street." I do love that line. But yeah, I mean, they're nothing fantastic or nothing, groundbreaking or anything like that. The Left for Dead games, they're just meant to be mindless shoot 'em ups with silly jokes and some fun in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do enjoy that for what it wants to do. It does well. I do enjoy Left for Dead. Um, Yeah. Uh, See, funny enough, I saw Return of the Living Dead Part 2 first. I love both the first movie and the sequel. Yeah, I enjoyed them both as well. And and that's if you look back, horror, the horror genre, and the comedy genre have had a relationship since long ago. I mean, I grew up on the old Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, Abbott and Costello meets Wolfman, Abbott and Costello meet Dracula movies, you know? So, yeah. And the old Bob Hope, what was it? Scared Stiff, I think it was. Uh, for a long time, the horror genre and the comedy genre have walked hand in hand. Now, to make a good movie that's in the horror genre and comedy as well takes a very fine balance. You can go too far the other way, for sure, one way or the other. But it's been a long lasting companionship between those two genres. Um, as he says, that's why I love about Dying Light. It's a fun, scary zombie game with a killer soundtrack. Music reminds me of a horror movie from the 80s. Yeah, and there were some good ones in the 80s. That's the reason when I was talking about it earlier, I said in the 90s it just started getting stupid because there were some good movies. You could kind of see it changing in the 80s, but you know, Monkey asked what movie we all watched in that stream that I was talking about earlier. Every year at Halloween, and I like to rewatch the original Halloween movie. You know, which I know some of the generation today paying, oh, it's not scary and da 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 da, and other people think, oh, it's just so bloody. You want to know something? There's not a drop of blood in that movie. And, but it was different. It did change things. It instituted a genre. It's not that the slasher genre did not exist before, because there were a few movies going all the way back to Psycho that existed before that, but it defined it. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before, and it kicked off a whole run. And maybe it was a run between it and Friday the 13th that shouldn't have went as long as it did, but it did kick it off. Um, but yeah, yeah, she also Shaun of the Dead for that reason. Love Shaun of the Dead for that reason. Nice mix. Shaun of the Dead is perfection. It is really good. Jack Gunsky says, yeah, horror and comedy just go hand in hand if done well. They work because they're two. I think because they're two extremes of the emotional scale, which makes them similar. You know, you've got scares and frights, and what is your natural reaction for when you see that the fright was nothing to be worried about? You laugh, right? Most of us laugh when we see that. Oh well, scared myself there, for nothing. You laugh. So they're just two emotions that really do go hand in hand, and it just works really, really well. One of the reasons that I love the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and yes, I know the latter one's got a little bit out of hand, but I do. I love Freddy Krueger. His humor and the horror mix was just it just hit me right in the right spot. Um, Original Black Christmas is a great slasher. Yeah. The only slasher movies I love, I made it a tradition in our household to watch that every Christmas. A lot of ketchup, Bloodwing. Yeah, a lot of ketchup. Um, you know, uh, 1, 3, and 4 are the best Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Yeah. Was it 2 where it didn't even have Freddy in it? Didn't like that one much at all, but um, course, the same thing with the Halloween series. Loved the first two, not so much the third one. Now, Halloween 3, I'm not saying Halloween 3 is a bad movie because it's really not a bad movie, but they tried to play it off as part of the Halloween series. Now, I get it. Their original intention for Halloween was to be, you know, uh, a series of different stories and so forth. But they tried to play, there was such success to the first two when they tried to throw in three, in tried to throw three in there. It was like, ugh. um, well, I didn't mean where Lindsay, where Freddie, if Freddie wasn't totally in it, it just was a different person, and they were. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember which one's which. It's been so many years since I've seen the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So long. Um, and it's not that Halloween 3 is a bad movie. It's just not a Halloween movie. They would have been better served, I think, because it gets a lot of dislike because of that. If they had labeled it as something else, and and maybe announced it from the directors or the producers of Halloween, comes this movie, then they would have been better served. It gets a lot of flack because they tried to pawn it off as a Halloween movie. Um, oh, one is the best, absolutely, but two was not bad. Two was not bad. I do love those are my two favorites. The first two. Um, but Clint Nicholson says never liked Elm Street movies. Didn't find them scary. I, I don't know that I was ever scared by them, but that's rare to find a movie that scares me, to actually scare me. But it did give me a feeling of dread. I will admit to that. And the you know yeah, this is the last kid Halloween was when Loomis blew him and Michael up. I don't remember which one that was. I remember seeing, but I just don't remember which one that was. The only Nightmare on Elm Street movie that I would consider scary is the first one. Yeah, because in the first one they didn't go as much for the comedy. There was little, but it was more serious than the latter entries. Um, but I enjoyed them. I don't know. I enjoyed them for probably the same reason I enjoyed playing the Borderlands games, because the humor in the Borderlands games just was right up my alley. That it makes me laugh. All those little one-liners in there, and there's people that hate Borderlands. Don't like it, and that's okay. It tickles me. But this year for Halloween, I'll have all the cobweb skeleton decorations up. My neighbors are never impressed, though. They say they wish they'd come down the other 11 months of the year. Yeah. Well, you laugh, but we have people like that around here. There's a house just up the street that I think they leave their Christmas lights not only up, but on all year. I'm not joking. They not only leave them up, but they leave them on. Um, the first NOES was straight up creepy. Yeah, and it was a very original villain. It was a very original idea. The idea that you could be attacked in your dreams if you fell asleep. It was very original, and unlike at the time it was very original. Unlike what you get today, is just rehashes, 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 rehashes. I mean, are we to the point to where there's just really aren't any original ideas left out there for Hollywood to have? Or is it just that they're being lazy now? I go more with the latter. They're just being lazy. And they're going for the quick dollar on the name of uh, you know some other piece of work. You know, uh, but Oh, good grief. Um, sorry, I had to read what he was saying. It took me a minute. Um, and while I was talking about movies being scared, I heard my wife mumble arachnophobia at me. Yeah, but that's because I am highly arachnophobic. And I'm pretty sure I probably told this before, but back when it first come out, and first come out on in those days was VHS tape. One of the people at work had been after me and after me because he knows how afraid of spiders I am. It is to the extreme. Good grief. A lot of creators putting out stuff right now. Boom, boom, boom. I've been just constantly clicking off alerts. Get out of here. Um, but he knows how afraid of spiders I am. So he can say, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. You need to watch this because he had it on VHS tape. And uh, I finally relented and I took it home with me and I watched it. And oh my gosh, because of my phobia, was probably the reason it scared me as bad as it did. And just creeped me out. And I had to watch the lights on. I had my feet all pulled up on the couch so they wouldn't, some spider couldn't crawl across them on the floor. and and oh my goodness, yeah, that one was a tough one for me to get through. And I don't think I've ever watched it again. uh, but yeah, there's another movie that they did threw in some comedy. With the John Goodman playing the fumigator. The pest control guy. So yeah, um, and it worked really well. Um, Now I did watch what was that one, Eight Legged Freaks. That one didn't even hardly creep me out because it was just so stupid. It's incredibly stupid. I felt, um, but you know, it's just my opinion. Um, uh, I'm not sure about the. I don't watch anime, so number one, I'm sorry, I haven't seen that. Just don't. Didn't get to me, and I don't want to get all off in that again. I've had too many arguments about that in the last couple of weeks on Twitter. Don't know why some people are so triggered that I don't like anime because I've never picked on anybody else because they like it. Maybe in jest, but not for reals. If you like it, fine, enjoy it. I don't like it. I know they just can't leave me alone. I don't get it. What? Why does it trigger everybody so bad that I don't like it? It's not me. It's not my style. It doesn't do anything for me. Do we all gotta like the same things and be alike? No. I'm sure there's an awful lot of stuff that I like that you all wouldn't like. So leave me alone. Deal with it. It's getting to the point where it's almost hilarious how triggered people get when they hear that I don't like anime. Quinn the Cultist stares down on blowing from my ivory tower manga and anime. Hey, you do you. You do you. And yeah, Beth, I do blame Alex for a lot of it. But if you enjoy it, because my daughter and her kids, Mama Minnie, that you know from the chat, they like that anime. They like it. I don't. It's different strokes for different folks. That's the way the world works. That's what makes the world go around. We're all different, and we all enjoy different things. I'm a huge music lover. You all know that because we've talked about music many, many times on this stream, and I enjoy all kinds of music. don't quite care for opera. Just don't, you know. But some people really enjoy opera. Hey, and that's okay. And it's the same thing. I just don't. It's starting to tickle me how triggered people really get because I don't like anime. uh, uh, Clinical stroke. Um, Jack Gunsky says, as an anime fan, please feel free to not enjoy anime. Leisure Weeb has given permission. Well, thank you, Jack. Thank you. Thank you. And it's not. Let me fill you in. And Alex knows this. He just likes to overlook it and make it look like I just don't like it because I just don't like it because I'm old. But that's not true. I've gave it a chance. I've watched several different ones. I've had ones recommended to me that I've watched. I've had ones that I found on my own that I thought would appeal me that I watched, and I haven't liked any of it. It just doesn't do anything for me. It's like liking art, but certain kinds of art style doesn't appeal to you, and other does. It's the same. It's just art and enjoyment in art is extremely subjective. It's not objective. It's subjective, and it just doesn't appeal to me. So thank you, Jack. Thank you for that. My swimming instructor asked what's your favorite show. I said it was the one that finished up on my oh, grave. Jay Wolf, you caught that, did you? Yeah, yeah. I did. Because privately, that's what I call it. Hazy gold. But I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice here during the stream. I just don't. Um, you know, I really don't care if you like that stuff and you enjoy it. Hey, knock yourself out. You go ahead, but leave me out and quit acting like it's a sin against nature that I don't like it. Single Lens says, I guess you can say that I'm a casual anime fan. I love the art style, but I haven't found too many animes where I was interested enough in the story to continue binging. Yeah, see, I don't like the art style. That's one of the things. It just doesn't appeal to me. I haven't found a storyline that's grabbed me and made me want to watch more than one. You know, the animation tends to be choppy, and you can argue that all you want to. It does, and I just don't like it. But if you do, you do you. How do you feel about Warhammer 40K? Are you talking about the board game or Sea Code? Because if you are, I haven't played it. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. Jay West says, I'm with you. I don't fancy it either. Yeah, it just not my thing. And that's what makes us all different, right? Yeah. Oh, the franchise itself. No, I think it's the Warhammer's fine. I actually got it's not a Warhammer 40K, but I've got a couple of Warhammer games on my computer, the video games, and I enjoy them. It seems to be a very rich universe. Which, hold on a second. She's not in the chat anymore. Mom Annie, if you're still out there in the chat, which I don't think you are because you haven't posted, but if you are, your mom wants to know if the kids are at home. Cynical Lindsay's my dad hates anime. I remember he used to poke fun at me for watching Bug-Eyed Free. Yeah, I don't like it, and I really don't. Oh, shit. Yes, they're all home. My dad hates anime. I remember he spoke fun of me. I hate it, and I really hate it. But I don't, outside of making fun with people, just being silly, because that's what I do. is make fun of you. If I like you, I pick on you. I make fun of you. Just ask my grandkids because I pick on them terribly. That's part of our relationship. Um, yeah, I just don't. It just tickles me though. Uh, Boy, you know, what they call weebs. Is that what it is? Weeb culture that likes the anime. That they're a good lord. They get up in my arms quick. You know. Um, heaven forbid. I wasn't even saying anything bad about the thing that they love. I just was saying that I don't like it. Boy, people were coming out of the woodwork. I don't know what you're trying to signal at me. Well, I'll have to end the stream then. No, you just talk. I'll talk to them, and then you can talk. The two won't work together. I'm calling Hayden stuff. The weebs are dirty. Otaku. Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's an awful lot of um, I don't know, little subdivisions or whatever within the whole culture. I don't understand it because I haven't delved into it. Don't care to delve into it. But yeah, I don't know what's the difference between otaku and weaves and all the other different stuff. I just know that, my goodness, they sure get fired up in a hurry. Uh, but let's see. I'm looking at the almost at the 2 hour mark. Um, but yeah, I may end it here, guys, because if you haven't noticed, I haven't took a bathroom break because I haven't had anybody here to break me for it. And I'm getting to the point where I'm really going to have to go. And almost made it to 2 hours, close enough for government work. I would say. Otaku is a lifestyle where a person separates themselves from society deliberately. Okay. Weebs just like Japanese culture. Yeah. And I guess that's why I don't get anime because it doesn't, Japanese culture doesn't do anything for me. I don't, yeah, it's cool. I wouldn't mind going to, if I went to Japan, I wouldn't want to visit the cities. I'd want to go out in the country. So there's some really, uh, there's some really nice looking area, very beautiful countryside and so forth, out there. But their culture doesn't do anything for me. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here, go to the bathroom, and let my wife get on with her call to the grandkids. So thanks everybody for coming out. This is probably, like I said, Mondays is probably the day you're going to have to look for me, and hopefully Fridays too. This Friday I have to work. But after that, it should be Mondays and Fridays, and hoping to get back to a more regular stream schedule after that. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks everybody for coming out, especially on such short notice, because I know I didn't give you a lot of notice on this. But anyway, until next time, get out of my yard.